Some men are just supposed to lose. What do I exactly mean by this? I like to think sometimes, I think people should try and just sit down and relax and just think about stuff, right? What's running through their mind. And I just came to this, not conclusion, but just this thought. Some men are just supposed to lose. Some men are just supposed to be losers. And some men are just supposed to waste their life away. Especially these days, we try to encourage positivity, which I deeply believe in. I think is a great thing. But if you want to learn about the future, we want to go and look at the past. And what does the past teach us? The past teaches us that some people, they're just meant to be the losers. If there's a war, there's someone who wins and there's someone who loses. There's a final in a sports game, someone who wins, someone who loses. There's anything, any kind of competition, there's someone who loses and someone who wins. And this is a little bit of a delicate topic, especially for me, because I'm a coach and my job is to help people improve themselves and become the best version of themselves. But sometimes I notice that I speak to people in my DMs, maybe some of my clients, and if you're watching this, don't be offended, just know, maybe get offended and try and prove me wrong, right? Maybe just this is the motivation that you need, but there are some people who, no matter how hard you try, they just cannot be helped because they're not willing to help themselves. And this is a shame because it's painful, because I wake up sometimes and there may be two clients in the same situation and one of them maybe has it worse as well, but they still get on with things. They're still in the gym training. They're still following the plan. They're still doing what they got to do. Whereas there's someone else, maybe they've got something that maybe it's not even real. Maybe they're just creating problems themselves in the mind. And they cannot even help themselves. Like, can you stick to one meal plan? Can you stick to one meal from the meal plan that you've got? Can you just, do 5,000 steps? Can you just go to a gym for 10 minutes? And they don't do it. Whereas there could be someone else who's had a family member die, and this is a true story, and he's still doing everything he's got to do. And that made me realize, look, I'm doing everything I can to help this person, but if this person is not willing to help themselves, there's not a lot that can be done. The purpose of this video is just to, I don't know, I just felt like making this video. I don't know what the purpose is. I just want to share my opinion and you take it whichever way you want. And if you get offended, that's a problem on you, not me. I'm just saying my opinion and freedom of speech. If you do get offended, that's your problem. That's your perception. These days, we are encouraged, we are taught, especially when we're younger, with the school system, that you can do this, you can do that, which is true. But you need to realize that some people just will not. There's a small percentage of men who are winners in life, and they may be winners overall in life. They may be winners in one thing and losers in others. But you need to realize that in some things, you're going to be a loser. The thing that just pisses me off is that you don't have to be. Everyone has their mind. Most people they're not born with physical or mental disabilities. Most people that are born, they're born in okay households. Maybe they're not too rich, they're not too poor, they're okay. If you're in that situation, you shouldn't have any reason why you should lose, why you should fail, anything. And if you are in a situation where you come from an okay background, and you don't have any physical disabilities, mental disabilities, you should be ashamed of yourself for not being the best man that you can be. And I'll be honest, obviously I'm still on my journey myself, but when I look at people around me, naturally I compare myself to them, and people say comparison is a thief of joy. But yes, it can be, but are we optimizing for joy, or are we optimizing for success, for winning? And I got this from Charlie Morgan. This is not my thought process. I got it from him and it just makes sense, so I adopt it, right? But there shouldn't be any reason why you should be a fucking failure. And if you are, that's all on you, because there are people who come from worse backgrounds than you do. There's a guy in Gaza Gaza's being bombed, basically. I don't know if my video is going to be taken down for saying this, but the guy is still training. The guy is still eating what he can eat. He's still doing what he's got to do, but there's people who've got nothing wrong with them. They've got stable job, they've got stable income. That everything is okay, could be better, but the reason it's not better is because of them. But they're not grateful that they're not in a shitty situation. So all they focus on is all the things that are not the best in their life. But the thing is, all the things that are not good in their life is their fucking problem, it's their fucking fault. So, and then this cycle, this negativity, oh, this is shit. Do you realize that is your own fucking fault. These kind of people, right, that watch videos like this and they get super motivated. Like, yes, he's so right. I'm gonna take inspiration. This is so motivating. I'm gonna do something, right? And these are the kind of people who always mentally masturbate, who mentally wank all day. They watch all these podcasts, they read all these books, they watch all these YouTube videos, they watch all the Instagram videos, right? They follow all these motivational pages, but they don't take no fucking action. They get their sense of purpose, they get their sense of like mission of going towards something by watching these videos, by watching content, consuming this content, and which makes them feel good in a little bit. They're like, oh, I'm gonna watch this at 2 a.m. and then tomorrow morning I'm gonna wake up and, smash everything, right? And they wake up and they're still the fucking same. Because watching YouTube videos is not nothing. It's nothing. Motivation is great, lovely, right? But if you're not going to take some kind of action to improve your life, nothing's gonna happen. And just know that most things in your life, sometimes they're not your fault. If you're born in a very poor household, if you're born with disabilities, it's not your fault, but it's your responsibility to work around it, okay? And again, I might sound like a cunt saying this, but am I wrong? Maybe I sound rude, maybe I sound like a cunt, maybe I've hurt your feelings, but am I wrong? And I'm not wrong, because there's people who come from worse backgrounds than you do, and they're in a better position than you are, right? There's people who are my age, they come from worse backgrounds, and they're doing better than I am, and that kind of pisses me off. That's why I'm taking so much action. And sometimes I fall off too. Everyone falls off sometimes, but it's about picking yourself up. These kind of people, they get motivated by watching a YouTube video. Maybe they are, they're back on the grind for a week or two, and then something happens, which is normal, because that's just a test from the universe. Every positive energy has its polar opposite. Every positive energy has its polar opposite, which means it's normal. But at every little test that they get, they fail. Okay, so I'm just gonna, I'm making examples from clients again. Guys, if I've told you these things before, so if you're getting, I don't think you're gonna be offended because I've told you this before. But if you say I'm gonna do something and then you start doing it and then something happens, so a little inconvenient. Maybe someone keyed your car. Maybe you got ill. Maybe a family member or like one of your kids is ill. Maybe mentally, I don't know, something happened, right? Maybe you just were doing fuck all, right? You were just scrolling mindlessly, and then a negative thought popped up into your head. You're like, oh fuck, I don't know what to do. I'm lost. I can't be asked for anything. You need to realize that is just a fucking test. The universe is testing you to say, okay, do you actually deserve the life that you want? And if you fail that test, you're going to go back to square one. And that's what happens. That these people, they get stuck in these cycles. And there's a different kind of person who maybe they don't even know this is a test. They're just retarded. I said I'm going to do something. I'm just going to do it regardless. And without knowing, they pass the test and they step up to the next level. But you also need to realize that once you step up to the next level, the kind of tests that you get, they step up to the next level as well. So it gets harder. But because you've got that positive reinforcement experience from passing tests before, from overcoming adversity before, it doesn't seem hard. Even though it is, if you compare it to the same situation before, you are just stronger. That is it. That's why you don't realize it. So just trying to raise some kind of awareness. Look, I'm not a genius. I'm not, I don't know anything. Like, it's not like I don't know anything, but there's this small thing, this little things that I know, like this amount of things that I know, and there's so much more that I do not know, but something that I've realized, and maybe I'll be wrong in a few years' time or a few months, maybe even tomorrow, but some men are just supposed to lose. That's just stats, that's just percentages, and there's nothing we can do about them. If they don't want to help themselves in the first place, there's nothing that can be done. And especially as a coach, especially for me, it does get frustrating. Maybe for you, you're not a coach yourself, and most of you are not, but maybe you're trying to help a family member, maybe you're trying to help yourself, and it's frustrating. There's things you just cannot do it. They're just supposed to lose. They're just supposed to be losers. And I literally told a client this morning, look, man, I am checking up with you every single day, multiple times a day. And you say you're going to do something, but you just don't do it. I cannot do that for you. I cannot follow the plan for you. I cannot train for you. I cannot do anything for you. I can just told you what to do. I can tell you what to do and make it as easy as possible for you to follow. But if you're not going to do that, I'm not going to be wasting my time anymore, because it's been a few weeks now. That's the same fucking story. We jump on calls and you say you're tired of making excuses, you want to make an improvement, and that motivation, that lasts for, 20 minutes? Yeah, so look, I've had this meal on the plan. Great. Are you going to do tomorrow as well? Probably not, right? So, yeah. Maybe you're watching this and you are someone who's a loser, and just know that you might not ever get better. And this is demotivating, this is sad, but this is the truth, you know? Life is not fair, and you may be one of those that just failed. But the thing is, everything is in your control. Everything stems from you. So everyone's got the potential to be great, but not everyone will, because they get in their own way. Food for thought, man, because everyone's got the potential, but not everyone fulfills their potential or even gets close to it. And it's sad, frustrating, but it's just the fucking truth, isn't it? Yeah, this is not a rant, this is just a thought that I had. If you agree, great. If you disagree, great. You know, you got your own mind, you got your own thoughts, you can think whatever you want. Maybe this video ends up, you know, being somewhat of a positive message for someone. Like, by positive I mean forces them to take action and step out to the next level and realize that they're in control of their life, and some people will just stay the same. So yeah.